Pretty funny. 25, 20.
Would they like plug their YouTube channel or something stupid like that?
No, no, no.
Oh, thank God.
No. All right, so my name is Sean Sarcona. There's my email address. The best way to get a hold of me is my email. I don't check my phone, my voicemail, none of that. I'm hardly ever in my actual office. Usually when I come in, I drop off like my lunch and then I come right here, okay? And I'm basically planted here for most of the day. I'm here at 8 a.m., I leave at 11 p.m. So I'm here literally all day long, okay? That's Monday, Wednesday. On Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday, or Saturday, or Sunday, email me, okay? Even on Mondays, Wednesdays, you can email me. There's my Skype in case you ever want to Skype me. Only one person in the 10 years I've been offering that has ever wanted to do it, but I just throw it up there. And there's my phone number in case you get bored and need a phone number to call. There's our class name, our numbers, our room numbers, times, 2 to 5. Pretty standard. Required materials, writing utensil. Does everyone have a writing utensil today? Cool. I recommend an Everlast Rocket book. If you're unfamiliar with what these are, this is an Everlast Rocket book. And what it allows you to do is that you can take notes in it, you can sketch in it, you can do whatever. And there's an app that's associated with the book. So when you mark, there's little boxes down here you really can't see. When you mark one of those boxes and you take a picture with that app, it uploads it to wherever you've told that box to go. So if I say, send this to my Google Drive, it'll send it to my Google Drive. If I have sketches that I've done, it'll send it to my sketches folder or wherever I've designated. Okay, so it's a really cool way to organize your stuff, and then the pages will wipe off, so then you can reuse them. There's also different colors. It's very handy, and it's only like, this thin. There's another one, if you do buy one, in order to clear the pages, you have to put it in the microwave, which seems crazy, but you do. I just get the wipe off one. Sketchbook you will need for the class. There's 2 kinds you can have, or well, it's more than 2 kinds, but this is 2 examples. So there's one with like white pages. I like this one because if you ever decide you've sketched something awesome and you want to scan it, it's very easy to scan and then modify or whatever. And then there's a tanned one which looks very cool on the paper, but then when you scan it, there's not a whole lot you can do afterwards. You have to like do a lot of selections in Photoshop to pull it off that paper, okay? So those are 2 examples. You can get plain white paper if you want to. If this is the area that you plan on working in, you should treat it professionally and you should have like an actual sketchbook. Okay, you can get cheaper ones at Meijer for like $4, $5, but get a nice sketchbook. I also recommend getting some sort of fidget cube, chewing gum, silly putty, something to keep your brain active while I'm up here talking. The first day is rough. I'm here like all day talking for 2 hours at least in each class. So if you're like Autumn and is here all day and you're here all day, it's going to be a long day, right? So something to occupy your mind. So those are a couple things. Typically I use playing cards for when I'm trying to occupy my mind and not fall asleep, like watching TV or whatever. So just something like that. An external hard drive of 250 gigs or more. That's about, maybe we would use 150 for this class, but that's a good size for what the amount of files we're going to be using in here. This is a 3D modeling class, so we'll be touching on a lot of different areas inside of 3D. Just to give you a look at some of the stuff, documents, Maya, projects. All right, so this is one project that I have here, and this is about 4 gigs, okay? So if we have 10 projects, each one of those is, 3 gigs or 4 gigs. It adds up pretty quick. Plus we add other stuff on top of this, and this is not anywhere near as much stuff as we would have. Some of my other ones are pretty big, so. You want to have a good size hard drive. 250 gigs is a nice size. And people always ask, so I'll just show it. If I needed a hard drive, I go to Amazon, and then I just search for external hard drive. I look for the best ratings. Mac and PC don't matter. You can always reformat it. So if you do buy a Mac one, you can reformat it for PC, or you can reformat it for both. Okay, so don't worry about that. This is a nice one that I found earlier today. This one would also work, but this is 2 terabytes for $70, and this is 750 gigabytes for $44. So if you only have $44, you can get that one. If you have 68, that might be a good one to get. Don't get the ones where you need external power or are bulky to carry around. That's kind of a weird one. So like these ones here, they're like bricks. You don't want to carry that around. You just want a little drive, simple. External hard drive, yep. Pair of headphones. So I record all of my lectures. So everything that I do up here, I record. If I do something at home, typically I'll record it too. And then I'll have audio to it. So you want headphones so you can listen to, obviously, the audio. The videos do no good if all you're doing is seeing my mouse click because I'm explaining stuff as I'm going. I'm recommending at least 4 to 6 hours outside of class to work on stuff. You might need more than that. You might be able to squeak by with less than that, okay? The more time you put into your work, the better off you're going to be. There's a lot of stuff in this class from the intro class. The intro is the foundation, but we're really going to expand on a lot of it. So when we modeled the drone, everyone did the drone, right? You modeled the drone in the intro class, and that next one, we'll be modeling like bigger stuff and more complex stuff, and we'll be touching on several different applications as we go through this. So there's a lot of work that can be go into it to make it look really, really good, and if you don't, it really shows, okay? So block out at least 4 to 6 hours outside of class to work on stuff. If you don't need it, you don't need it. If you do need it, it's there for you, okay? Any Maya book or generic 3D book, I recommend getting. It's not required, it's optional. Maya. Oops. That's not a book at all. Anything, I don't know this specific book, I haven't read it, it has horrible reviews, so I actually probably wouldn't get it. But try to find one that has good reviews, like the previous version apparently. And even though it's a 2016, Maya's on 2018, the concepts still apply. So the way they were modeling 2 years ago is pretty much the same way they're modeling now. The same way they did UVs is similar enough that it would work, okay? Now I wouldn't go back 10 versions and try to get something because then things are way off. But at least you'll have a good foundation for it. Even if it's not like a specific Maya book, even if it's just character modeling or environment modeling. Learning Blender, Blender Cookbook, character modeling and animation, character development. There's lots of different books out there that touch on the techniques that are universal. So whether we're using Maya or Max or Blender or Cinema or any tools, it's all the same. It's just a matter of how you apply it in that specific tool, okay? So I recommend getting one. You can also go to the library. Libraries have, because people are donating their books, they have a bunch of them there. So you can actually check some out for free. Pluralsight. I also recommend a Pluralsight account. This class, we are going to touch on a lot of different areas and try to go as deep as we can into them. Again, not as deep as you could go. So one of the tools we'll learn in this class that you didn't touch on in the intro class, most likely, is Substance Painter. And with Substance Painter, this software is basically like if you had your drone and you were like, I want to make it look weathered and rusted and look realistic, you could bring it into Substance and do that. We are going to have a few assignments where we touch on some of the Substance stuff, but if you look, like this is 3 hours of Substance, 2 hours and 45 minutes of Substance, 2 hours of Substance, 4 hours of Substance, 5 hours of Substance, okay? 10 hours or 8 hours of Substance. So there's a lot of stuff that you can get into just in one program, okay? I wanted to expose you to it because out of the lot that are here, you may end up in different areas. You could end up doing environments or characters or products or anything really, okay? So the more exposure you have to more programs, the better you're going to be suited to pick the right tool for the job, okay? Substance is like the new one that it's like amazing what it can do. I'll just show you real quick. So like all the texturing was done inside Substance. So that was just a plain model. And in order for them to get this metal to look like metal, they drop a metal like stamp on there. And then they can paint where they want rust to be, or they can use sliders to control where the rust is. You can even use some of these physics-based brushes where let's say that he has a cut on his chest. I could just like draw with a brush, and it'll like draw red streaks on them like it's blood. It's like amazing. We didn't have that kind of stuff back in my day. Now we do. So Pluralsight has a whole bunch of stuff. This is not available at our bookstore anymore. Last semester it was, but then they got rid of it, so maybe it's there. But if you go to Eastern Michigan's bookstore, they have it there, and you can buy it online and just have it sent to you. It's $100, and you get it for the year.
Did you ever figure out how to get to that? 'Cause I tried that and I couldn't find it.
You couldn't find it? I'll look again. I found it at one point. Did you contact me about it?
When I came last semester with Deanna.
Okay. Somebody else contacted me about it too, and I found it and sent it to them. I'll find it again. Mental note. There we go. All right. Software. So for this class, that's all the software we're going to be using. That's a lot of stuff compared to the intro class or compared to the other stuff. So Adobe CC, we'll be using Photoshop, we'll be using Illustrator, we'll be using After Effects. Those are the three big ones. We'll be using Maya 2018 for this class. 2019 isn't out yet. Typically it comes like halfway through the semester. We'll be using Keyshot at some point, Unreal at some point, Arnold at some point, ZBrush, Nuke, Mari, and Substance Painter. All those softwares. Of those, Adobe CC is a pay one. How many who does not have Adobe at home?
I only have Photoshop.
Okay, that's fine. You can get by with that. The amount of Illustrator or After Effects we'll be doing in this class is minimal, so any of that stuff you could actually do just in class. The Photoshop stuff is typically a bit more. So yeah, that'd be fine. If you didn't have Adobe at home, you could get it for $20 a month if you don't already know. Someone said in a previous class, even after your first year, Adobe jacks up the price to like $30 or $40. If you call them and tell them you're still a student and I guess prove it, they'll knock it back down to $20. There was almost a fight in here about, yes, they do that, no, they don't do that. So they might do it. Maya, Unreal, and Arnold are free softwares. So you could download Maya for free if you go to Autodesk's website. You can get Maya for free for 3 years. So you get that for free. It comes with Arnold, so you don't have to worry about downloading that separate. It's just inside it. And then Unreal is Unreal Engine, and that's just a separate download. You don't have to download all of these softwares right now. The main one I would download and install in your home computer is Maya, okay? The more comfortable you get with Maya, the easier it's going to be for you to get comfortable with all the other ones. This is Unreal. If you've ever played a video game, typically you've seen a splash screen. The splash screen says Unreal Engine probably on it. Most video games now are using Unreal or Unity. So Unreal is the one we use. It's free. You can sign up, download the software. It's pretty cool. Nuke and Mari. Nuke is a compositing software. Mari is a texture painting software. Both of these are free for students in the class, okay? And the way it works is you download the trial version, and then you would use this as the serial number or the license. After you install it, it'll say, you know, where's your license server, and you type in that code there, and then you can get access to it. You don't have to worry about that one too much right now. Later on, you can get to that, okay? Keyshot and ZBrush are not available for free. You have to pay for those. Keyshot, you know, it's a good program, especially if you want to get into products or vehicles or rendering, that kind of stuff. ZBrush is good for doing character stuff, doing 3D print stuff. Where did I put it? I don't have it here. The stuff over there on the shelf, all those character heads, those were all done inside of Cinema or inside of Maya and then brought into ZBrush and tweaked and polished. Substance Painter, that's for doing that. You can get a free license of Substance Painter as well. You do have to submit your student ID or something, so once you do that, you're good. All right, so this class is 3D modeling and rendering. We'll be using Maya. Basically, the same thing as the intro class, just a lot deeper and a lot more stuff. Okay, so we're going to like go a lot further down and a lot wider out. Not so much on motion design, but it's going to be a lot of modeling, texturing, and some basic animation things, turntable type stuff. Okay. Last semester, I had every assignment was listed. This semester, I'm doing a little bit differently. We have assignments that are 65 points. Those will just be spread out. We'll just kind of give those as I'm going. I really want to explore a lot of the different techniques And sometimes things flow better if we go one way or go another way or whatever. So a lot of this will depend on the class's flow as to how we get to all those points, okay? We will have a hotkey test, a definitions test. Those will be in later September. We will have daily and weekly drawings, which I will talk about later as well, and we'll have a final demo reel right there. All the points for the class will add up to 90 here. There's no percentages, it's just straight up points. So if you didn't do your final demo reel, you just lose 5 points off your final grade. If you don't do the daily drawing, you lose 10 points off your final grade, okay? If you want a full-blown solid A, you'll go beyond the assignments. So every one of my assignments are going to be nuts and bolts kind of assignments. This is what you need to do to at least understand the concept of how to use Substance or Maya or whatever. Going deeper into each one of those assignments, you can get extra points or get these points here, okay? So basically, let's say we're modeling, one of the assignments we did last semester was a Pokeball. So the assignment is you model a Pokeball, that's it. One of the students added wings to the Pokeball, and they added change to the Pokeball, and they added some extra smoke and some other stuff to it. So the more things you add to it, the deeper you're going into Maya, and that's just kind of going beyond. Your assignments are just for this class, but your work is not for the class. The work is for you to create a portfolio, to create a demo reel, to go out there and get a job. So that's what you should be focusing on. While you're creating your stuff, always focus on what do I want to say about me in this piece, right? So you always want to go beyond the assignment to customize it for you. Point deduction, so texting during class, texting during lectures, absences, tardies, you get points knocked off. I'm not too strict on the texting during class as long as it's not obsessive, as long as you're not on your phone the entire class texting back and forth, back and forth. Texting during a lecture, don't do that. Oops. Keys to success. Show up to each class on time, ready to work, pay attention during lectures, take notes, ensure you know what is required, work during class, do homework, meet deadlines, ask questions, and push your skills. All of those things are simple things that you can do for each assignment. Regardless of your level of skill inside Maya or any of the 3D softwares, doing just that will put you so much further ahead than everyone else, okay? It's important. Keys to failure, missing classes or constantly being late, socializing, making up excuses why your work isn't done, guessing what's required, not taking notes, turning in work as you feel like it. The biggest one here that I get is guessing what's required. So if I want 5 stills and you turn in 2 stills, or you turn in a movie and no stills, well, you haven't gotten the requirements. So make sure that whatever is required is also what you turn in, okay? It should be pretty easy, but sometimes people get confused. Any questions on that sheet? Nope. All right. Our next sheet. You don't have to get this if you already have one from another class. You have one, Autumn, so you don't need one. Let's give these 3. That one. These 2. Thank you. All right, so it starts off, begin with the end in mind. So what does that mean? Yep, simple as that. Focus on what we're trying to achieve here. How many people in here's goal is to get an A? Okay. Is that your only goal, though? No. What's your other goal? Get a job, right? Doing this kind of stuff or doing something in this field or just a job in general, right? So we have to keep that goal in mind as we work towards it, okay? Using the job as a final goal, I guess. What are the steps I can take now to get me there, right? If I don't know, I need to figure it out because just kind of like having the goal and not knowing how to get there doesn't do me any good. So the good thing about a school is that that's what we do. We kind of line you up to say this is the stuff that industry is doing, and that's the kind of stuff you can focus on. The bad thing is everyone here is an individual, and your journey may not be the same as someone else's journey. Someone may want to work down the street. Someone may want to work in LA. 2 different jobs, 2 different skill sets. So the class is set up here to be very generic in what you're going to learn. That's why you have to be the one that takes charge and knows where your goal is. Be respectful to the classroom equipment, furniture, and the students. These computers are newer. They're not new. They have to last us quite a few years, so don't break stuff. Be professional. There's no eating in the classroom. There's no eating in the classroom. There's no eating in the class. No eating in the classroom. There is no eating in class, okay? I should only need to put it there once, but every year I have to put it there more and more times. You don't want to see what the lab aides pull out of these desks during the semester breaks. It's pretty disgusting. Plagiarism. So any work that you turn in that's not yours is plagiarism. So if I come over to your desk and I do half your assignment for you, that's my work and your work. So that's probably about more my work than yours. Don't turn that in. Don't grab someone else's file and turn that in. Anything you turn in should be at least 95% yours, if not 100%, okay? Because you're here to learn, and the only way you learn is by making sure you understand what to do and how to do it. Assignments are not accepted without a completed assignment sheet. When we get to that, we'll get to it. Your grade is your responsibility. So make sure that whatever grade you get, you put in the work for it. You want an A, you put in the work to get an A. It's not just about you wanted a dog and I modeled the dog that looks kind of crappy, take it anyway. No, your grade is your responsibility. Make sure you get everything you need out of that dog. Grading. So pay attention here to my grading scale. 90% is a B+. So if you never go beyond any of your assignments, you just do the bare minimum for them, the highest grade you can get in the class is a B+. Okay? Typically it's not an issue, but just so you're aware of it. All right. And frequently asked questions. I wasn't here last class. Did I miss anything? What do you think? Yes. Okay. Anytime you are not in class, you'll miss stuff. Whether it's working here, whether it's being in a quiet environment. A lot of people at home when they work, and I've seen it, their stuff is crazy. Mom and dad are telling you to do this and that, and you got people knocking at the door, the dog has to go out, whatever it is. Here we can just kind of sit and focus on our work. You can just be in class and get your stuff done. So it's a learning environment. That's why, we have this room the way we have it. And apart from that, you may see something on someone else's computer that you're like, hey, this is cool. I like what they're doing here. How did they do that? And you figure it out. You have to be exposed to as much stuff as possible in this program. The best way to reach me outside my office hours? Email. Yep. So make sure you email me if you need to. Can I bring in food or beverage into class?
You can bring beverages in sealed containers.
Yep. And no food. No food. Can I bring in my own mouse or tablet? Yes. The answer is yes. You can bring in mouse, tablet. If you want to work off your own laptop, that's fine too. Just don't unplug any of the stuff that's already here. Even if you have a tablet or a mouse, you may need drivers loaded. You just have to load those drivers. The college won't do those for us. If you're not feeling well and you want to work from home, you're able to do that. I typically mark every absence as an absence, regardless of the reason for it. So if you're in a bus accident right outside, I'll still mark it absent just so there's a record of you not being in class. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to ding you for it because last semester I had someone end up in the hospital for several weeks. They got absences, but they were able to catch up and still pass the class with a B. So I mark it regardless. I finished my work. Can I leave early? What do you think there? No. The work is never done, right? So Pixar ILM, they have to release their work and actually, they rip it out of their hands and put it on the screen. They would continue to work it and continue to refine it every step of the way. 3D photo. Oops, 3D photo. So we'll use this one. So besides the obvious modeling issues that are there's a lot of other stuff that could be done to this, okay? So if someone turned this in and they left early, well, I could say, that wood texture could really look a lot better if you had a more refined picture. The girl's arm would not look like a monster's arm if you fixed that. The net could look more rounded like a net if you fix that. There's a million things you can always do to your stuff to make it look better. In this one, his glasses could be less reflective. The background could be a bit softened. The shadow could be a bit softer, right? So there's lots of things we can do to our work at any point to tweak it. Now that doesn't mean that you need to spend 15 hours extra on each piece to refine it and whatever else, and stay up all night long to get it done. But there shouldn't be any reason to leave early when you can still improve your stuff. If you come in to turn in your work and the college is closed, or you turn in your work for any reason that's late, what do you think there? You allowed to turn in your work late? Correct. So you'll lose a point for every day that it's late. The best bit of advice here, plan ahead, right? So you may not know what's going to happen, so you get your stuff done as soon as possible. Whenever I lecture, whatever chunk I went over today, by next class you should have that chunk done. Whatever chunk I go over next time, you should have that chunk done before the next class. That's how I have it set up. And that's that. Cool. Questions on that sheet? All right. The way that this was done was they videotaped this person using a depth camera. So basically like how far from the camera the person is. And the closer they are to the camera is driving the motion of these pins. So instead of them having to go through and animate each pin, which obviously would take forever, they're able just to use Houdini for that kind of animation, which is, again, it's awesome. Maya has some stuff like that, but it's not as fluid as Houdini is, and it's not as quick as Houdini is. If you ever seen crowd simulations, typically Houdini has, some hand in that, okay? So when I look at that, I try to engulf myself with as much Houdini as possible. Even if I'm not absorbing it, it's just kind of like give me as much information, because eventually some stuff is going to stick. And then when I start going through and playing with it, all these little things will start popping out to me. Okay, so that's how I learn. If you're having a hard time learning something, try a different learning technique. If I try to explain it, it doesn't work. You've tried hands-on, it doesn't work. Try reading something about it. Try watching 10 YouTube videos about it. Try doing as much stuff as you can to find the best way for you to attack that problem. Okay. Most of the time I have to screw up a lot, and then I learn a lot more from that. Getting enough sleep is always important too, and this is something that is not the same for everyone. So they say people should get 8 hours of sleep every night. That's not true. Everyone is different. Some people can get by on 4, some people need 6, some people may need a little bit more, okay? But try to find what works best for you. Just because you're tired doesn't mean you need to sleep. It just might mean that you're just like brain dead. Happens sometimes. Eat a healthy diet. So, and this doesn't mean that you have to totally switch everything that you're eating to healthy stuff. It just means try to decide. If you're eating a bunch of junk food, that's going to make you feel more lethargic and more tired and not want to move around a lot. If you add some healthier stuff to your diet, then that's going to help balance it out, okay? Exercising, even 30 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, anything is better than nothing. So the more exercise you can fit in, the better off you could be. I was able to find a way to work in exercising and watching YouTube videos, because I have my tablet, and I would just watch YouTube videos on my tablet while I was like on a treadmill or on a bike. And so that way I'm kind of like learning and doing this, so I was able to justify it more. Meditation is important too. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could just be simply sitting there in the quiet and just breathing, just trying to clear your mind. Practicing an instrument or foreign language, drawing or doodling, we will do that. And then keeping an open mind. If you don't think any of these things will work, 100% agree, they will not work, okay? Because you've already shut it off, so they won't work. But if you are open-minded and you say this will work, then it will work, okay? Your brain is more powerful than anything else you could do, okay? Most of the work that you do is 90% mental and 10% physical. So everything we do in this class, even though it may be tricky or learn the ropes of it, it's all mental, okay? Attendance policy, I already went over that. You have 4 absences in the class, doesn't mean you have to take them. Equipment loan agreement, we don't have any equipment specifically that we are loaning out. We do have tablets and pens for this class that we can use. So just make sure that I get those back afterwards. At one point, we'll be doing some 3D scanning and some HDR compositing. So that will mean that we'll be using cameras and stuff, but typically I bring those in, I show you how they work, and then I let you kind of play with them after, so it's not like you're taking it out and bringing it back. Oops. All right, usage of hardware in classrooms. So obviously don't break the stuff that's here. The computers are newer, like I said. We don't want to break them. Don't unplug anything, don't configure any system settings. Some people find it necessary to change the background and the screensaver and everything every time they come in. I don't understand that, but they do. We'll get more into that. No eating in class. Beverages must be sealed. No loud music. Cool. Any questions on that one? No? All right. This is just going to help you keep track of different due dates that are coming up. Calendar. There it is. Different days that we have off, and also obviously remind you about drawing every 15 minutes. So our first assignment that we're going to have in here is going to be, just lost it. All right, I'll think of it. I can't think of it at the moment. But anyway, whatever the first assignment is, we'll be drawing 15 minutes for that assignment, okay? So if it's gears, it's not gears, but if it's gears, you'll be drawing different kind of gear configurations that you could use to create a gear setup, okay? So 15 minutes each day while we're working on that assignment is what you'll draw. When we get to the next assignment, you'll switch over and start drawing 15 minutes a day for whatever that is. Then you'll draw the next assignment, 15 minutes a day for that one, okay? So every day you'll draw something. Next Monday, or not next Monday, the Monday after, we have no school because it's Labor Day. So we won't be here for that. Week 10, this is our last day of graded drawing. Every Monday you come in, I'll be checking your sketches. And it's literally just checking it off. I'm not grading the sketches as far as these are excellent sketches and these are horrible sketches. It's literally just to make sure that you're doing the sketches. It's more important that you build these habits of sketching every day than it is right now to make sure that you're perfectly sketching your stuff. If you're not a good drawer, that's fine. Eventually that will come the more you practice it. The end of week 10, that's the last week that I'm checking your sketches, but you'll still sketch as we go along with the classes. November, we have a week off for Thanksgiving, or almost a week because we're here on the 19th. And then in December, we're done right there. Okay, so the semester will fly by pretty quickly. Any questions on the calendar? No, that one's pretty straightforward. All right. Student success seminars. So if you are bad with time management, you're like, I don't know where to get information from. They have these seminars that they do basically throughout the year. They're free to students, so you can just sign up for these and attend them and get, better time management, find your learning style, textbook reading strategies. There's a whole list of them, and they go all the way through December. So if you're interested, check those out. I have some copies up here, and there's some other ones in the hallway. I also have career service stuff. It's never too early to start looking for jobs. A lot of people I know like to wait until they're actually graduated and then look for a job in the industry. But it's actually better to do it while you're a student, because if you can get your foot in the door somewhere, maybe a 10-hour a week internship somewhere, at least your foot helps you get into that place full time. You have to network, you have to talk to people, obviously, but this is a good spot to start. You go onto the website, you create a profile, you upload a resume, and then they have this connection with you so that when companies do come to us, you're already ready to go. They also do this, which is career experience, which has that same stuff, and career services, which is the same area. But they'll actually do, if you're bad at interviewing, they'll sit down and they'll interview you, and then they'll critique you, and then they'll help you figure out how to be a better interviewer during your interviews, right? So any stuff you can do, definitely do that. But you have to fill out your profile and resume first, and then they'll meet with you and talk about all those things. Where did I put those papers? No, that's that. I had them. I left them on the back, maybe. No. I have one. I'll give you that one. There you go. You need to get into Canvas. So you go to My Macomb, if you've never been to Canvas before. You click on Canvas. If you've never been in there, there may be an orientation. I know at one point they had it. I think in the past year or so they got rid of it or made it optional. You'll go to 2520. And you'll go to our discussion board. And in here, there'll be a Please Introduce Yourself section. So it'll say, use this area to briefly describe yourself, who you are, where you came from, and what brought you here. Find a 3D modeling video on YouTube, share the link, and explain why you like it. Okay, so you'll just reply, type that information in there. Okay, doesn't have to be extensive. Like I said, just something brief. I have a little example there, so you can take a look at that if you need an example. Okay, so that'll be item number 1 to do for homework. Number 2, download the software. So download Maya and install it on your station. That way you'll know yes or no whether or not it works. So if you go to students.autodesk.com or you type in Students Autodesk on Google, there will be a spot for you to download free software, and it'll let you download Maya for 3 years for free. Okay? 2 reasons we want to do that immediately. 1, obviously it lets us know whether the software works on our station or not. And 2, sometimes, and I don't know how this happens, they run out of serial numbers. And so sometimes you'll download it and they won't allow you to use it until they get a new batch of serial numbers that come through. So you want to make sure you get one as soon as possible. Even though it's for 3 years, when 2019 comes out, they'll just give you a 2019 license for another 3 years. And 2020 comes out, they'll give you another 3-year license. Okay? As long as you're a student, you get basically Maya for free. There's also a bunch of other stuff there too that you could download and play with. If you've ever heard of 3D Studio Max, you may want to download that and play with it too, or Inventor, or all those other softwares. There's like a lot there. One of them is Character Generator. We're not going to use it for this class, but basically what it allows you to do is pick like what does the hand look like on this creature, and the arm, and the upper arm, and the shoulders, and the body, and the face, and all this stuff, and then you hit go, and it just builds a character that looks like that. It's pretty awesome. You just pick from a list. There's a bunch of cool stuff that's out there that's kind of like, it's not really hidden, but I guess it's just not as well displayed. Adobe also has like motion capture stuff.
Where you said to get it on our station, is that like where we're sitting like right now?
No, your home station. So if you have a computer at home, put it on there. That way you know that it works or doesn't work. So this is Mixamo, not related to this class, but still like really cool, where you can download characters and you can download animations of characters like motion captured, and then you can apply them to your stuff. So if you've ever seen any of the music videos where they have some guy that's basically made of like balloons or something dancing around, I don't know what video it is, but there's some music video where they do that. There's a couple commercials where they do that too. This is like where they're getting that kind of stuff. So they have like, here's the character dancing. And then you can control like how much energy she has. And then you can like pull these things down. And then you can just download the stuff and apply them to your characters. All right, we'll just pull everything down, it'll look weird. It's like a drunk samba, I think. And you can even upload your own character. It's pretty awesome. And it's like unlimited. There's like so many things here. There you go, thriller. There's even a zombie guy. It's fun stuff. Okay, so there's lots of stuff out there. You just have to kind of poke around to see it. Create a Behance account and a LinkedIn account. So I want you to have the Behance and the LinkedIn, so at least you have those things ready to go. You don't have to add anything to them, but I at least want you to have those things set up. You don't want to have the day before you graduate or the day after you graduate. You decide to create a Behance, a LinkedIn, a Vimeo, a YouTube, or whatever, and then you start populating all this stuff there. Anyone who goes to your site will see there's 0 views, there's 0 likes, there's 0 stuff shared. Nobody knows who you are. It's not, you can't do anything with that information, okay? If you start it now, you can start just adding stuff. Whatever we create for this class, you can just start adding to that. If it sucks later, then take it down and add something different. But at least you have an area where you're adding stuff so people can see you're at least around, okay? Ooh, look at that, that's cool. All right. Cool, so that's it for that. And then the sketching, the first assignment we're gonna do is a weapon, okay? So for 15 minutes every day you will sketch a weapon. Where's my mouse go? There it is. Now we don't want, if I search for weapon here, it'll come up with a lot of different kinds of weapons, like guns are a popular thing. I would avoid guns just because it's just kind of like an easy thing to do, because like everyone, anytime I say weapons, everyone does guns, okay? So try to find something that's a little bit more interesting and something that has multiple textures to it or multiple surfaces to it. So like medieval weapons are good because typically they're a mix of like steel and brass and wood. Those are always good to have like a mix of things in there.
Can we draw like a weapon that already exists?
You can, yeah.
Weapon,
The idea with the sketching is that you'll, by the time we actually get to the assignment, because it won't be the, like, we're not going to jump in and just start modeling a weapon right away. We'll kind of go through the interface and learning some stuff. But you'll have several different ideas that you can kind of play around with, okay? Swords are good. Keep in mind, too, this is going to be something we're going to render out, okay? So if we render this out,